Assalamu alaikum everybody. Today we are here with another board game review, and this time it's going to be Forgotten Waters.
Nope, no treasure down there.
Oh, you were down there for like 5 minutes.
Is that really a problem? I can hold my breath for 1 hour.
Alright, so let us tell you that why you should be playing this awesome game. Just go and buy it.
Just play it, just buy it, just buy it.
It's going to be difficult to talk about this game because I cannot really put this into normal kind of category that this is a worker placement
Like-
game or economic game.
Or an adventure game.
Yeah, because the best description that I can give to this game that this is an narrative driven adventure game or adventure book game where you're trying to manage some resources. That's the most loosey-goosey definition of the objective of this game that I can give. Well, as
It's
you
like
can
trying to juggle 400 balls.
as you can understand from at least the theme or the name that it's going to be
It's
a
a pirate
pirate theme game, but it's a whimsical pirate theme, so it's not serious. It's not going to be something very gritty and you're having mutinies, not that kind of thing, but it's very comical, and that's the tone of the game that you should think about when you're going into this game, because the biggest beauty of this game is going to be the narrative stories rather than the gameplay itself. And I'm telling you, if you're coming here for some deep gameplay, some puzzle solving, some deep Euro mechanics,
Like
those are
strategy.
not going to be here. Yeah.
No.
Nothing is going to be here. It's purely a fun adventure narrative driven game where you are required to just go around, roam around in your boat. Well, not roam around.
Not
You have,
You have
certain
objectives, but
objectives,
it's your opinion if you want to do them.
but it will lead to certain possibilities, and the narration that comes out of it is going to be the awesome part of the game.
Bon appetit.
All right. So Ishal, can you explain the different? Each
That's
player
okay.
is going to get different kind of roles in the game. Ishal, can you explain all the different roles?
First, there is the first mate that controls the discontent and the crew members. We will explain that later on. There is the cooper that manages the supplies. The boatswain, which controls basically the, you can say
The hull
damage
strength or
damage
the health
resistance,
of the ship.
resistance, the resistance of the hull, something like that. The quartermaster, which deals with who is the most popular, who is the least popular, and the lookout that sees where the threat is coming and how much. There's also the gunner that they do sort of control the cannons, but for the most part, they mainly take control of what is stronger in the fights.
Even though Ishal has given an overview of the different roles, let me now go into a little bit depth of what you're trying to do. So you will be roaming. This board is going to change each time you play a scenario. This is a scenario based game. There are around 5 scenarios in the game that come by default, and there is one DLC which is a downloadable because this is an app driven, well, not app,
not
a
really.
website driven game, so you can download an additional mission as well. It's a paid DLC, but you can get that scenario as well. So there will be 6 scenarios that you can try out. Now, once you have selected a scenario, it's going to tell you how to set up the map. There will be some unique islands, there will be some mountains, there will be different things that are going to be there on the map that you have to explore. And then you will be left on your own that you select where you want to go. And you will be moving this ship around to actually tell that where you are moving. As you move around each of these tiles, and if you explore any new area, you will come on these exploration or navigation tiles. You will open them up, and each of these tiles is going to have a numeric number on them. Coming back to the app. Now, this is the website that you will be actually using.
Face.
Okay, that you will be using to actually play the scenarios.
You see, well, the book, it doesn't exactly give you the stories. It just gives you your action options and a little scenery to enjoy. Where you can actually get the comedic stories is in the website. What?
Yeah, and all of these scenarios come with fully narrated voiceovers, and they are top professional voiceovers. So this is normally going to be the main interface after you select a scenario. And if I click the view setup, it will say, oh, are you playing this for the first time? You can select yes, and it will tell you which tiles to take out, how to set up your map, where to place what, and the starting resources. So whatever Ishal had told you, that what resources we have for the ship, our crew, our supplies, our hull strength, all of those will be mentioned here. And if there are any special instructions, then those would be mentioned here as well. Once you have actually completed the scenario setup, then you can continue with the introduction. And let me play this for a little while so that you can have an idea about the audio quality of the narration.
Long ago, people spoke of a land called Sunset, a place full of honorable merfolk, powerful witches, towering monsters, and legendary pirates. A world that stretched so far and wide that not even the royal mounts could claim dominion over it. But as the years passed and the world twisted, the legend of Sunset faded and most forgot about its wonder.
Alright, so again, I'm not going to spoil all the story, but in this way, you will be not only given introduction, but each and every place on this map is going to be narrated in the same way. So once you, for example, come on to a tile, which is, for example, tile number 26, that tile number 26 will change from scenario to scenario. By looking at it, you might get some idea of what kind of things await us. So is it a foggy island? Is it a ship? Is it something? And you will type that number here.
Monstrosity?
You will type that number here. So for example, 26. And yes, there are beautiful sound effects to immerse you in the world as well. So you will type 26. So we are sailing.
You've been sailing through the fog for what seems like days when the lookout spots a small strip of land. You set down anchor and head for shore in the rowboats. Something ain't right.
So I'm not going to again show that all the story. I don't want to spoil that. But what you're going to actually have is sometimes you're going to, based on what you encounter, you will be seeing things like, okay, you found something useful, maybe you found some supplies, maybe you lose some crew, maybe you face some threat, maybe you encounter a different ship, and it will tell you to go to a different page even to actually fight someone.
Or something.
So things like that will happen. And then you will, for example, you encountered the Pirate King ship. It will ask you to go to that page, and then you will be resolving the issues on that page or getting to actions.
Or you will die.
That's how the app works. Sometimes there will be crossroad events. Those people who have played Dead of Winter, which comes from same company, Playhead Games, will know that there was a crossroads deck in which different options might come up based on the scenario. That okay, this has happened. It will give you a little narration, and then it will give you two choices, and then the active player will be asked, okay, which choice do you want? And based on that, the results can be different. Now, all of that card work and books have been just rolled up into this beautiful app. And what's now happening is you will get the crossroad event there, and you cannot just cheat and see, oh, which option is better for me. You will have to select one option, and then it will tell you the consequence of that. But the beauty of crossroad events in this game is that this game actually remembers, because it's driven by a website, it has cookies, it has a memory. So it remembers.
Memory is an actual thing, you know.
It is memory. On websites, we call it cookies. For websites, the memory is called a cookie.
A cookie, like
A
one
cookie.
of those you eat.
So anyway, so it has a memory. So it will remember, oh, you have already encountered this person. And next time a crossroad event will happen, it will try to involve that person. And that can lead to so much hilarious situations for you. For example, in the first one, like when I started to kill Gertie,
I think that's his
Gertie,
name.
and oh my god.
I don't know. He somehow developed the touch of that.
Yes, I didn't want to be a killer pirate, and the story just kept giving me such kind of options that bad things kept happening through me again and again, and it was so hilarious.
Another time, we were trying to sort of rally up the crew because there was a fight gonna happen or parley. Completely forgot the action, and somehow I got the entire enemy ship to bow down to me.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the app. That app remembers things, and it can then have a more coherent story as compared to the cards or deck mechanism. So I know people always have some hesitation when it comes to app-based games. Here there are two advantage things. First of all, it's not an app, it's a website. So if you're worried that okay, this app I will have to download on my phone, because I also don't like to download apps and keep them occupied on my phone. It bogs the memory down. It's not an app. I can open the same website on a laptop. I can open the same website on a phone, and you don't even have to log in. There is nothing to remember. You can just start playing from any point, how the game has been developed. It will continue your story. So it's a very unique mechanism, a very good mechanism, and simple mechanism that they have adopted. So it's a website driven with HTML5, all the voice audio is there, and it works just fine. So once we are done with the app, that's the part that I have explained the app. Now let's get into the gameplay. That these resources are going up and down. Now what are you actually doing? Now each of the missions are going to, each of the scenarios are going to give you things like these objective cards. These objective cards will be tracked by your lookout. So the lookout thematically again is a person on top of the crow's nest, and he's looking out for these objectives, and he's looking out for threat. If you waste a lot of time on your missions going here and there, then the threat will keep on increasing, and he will start putting these tokens. If at any time these threat markers reach the threat limit given on an objective,
Then something bad happens.
something bad happens. So there are certain stages, the game doesn't immediately finish. There are certain steps of threats that need to happen. And if all those steps run out, then you have wasted a lot of time and the threat has increased. So someone was following you and trying to stop you. They will catch up to you and you will fail your mission. That's one of the ways you can fail your mission. The other ways that you can fail your mission is that your hull, which is your boat strength, you are in fights, you are not repairing your ship, you are not paying attention, and when you fight, your hull drops to zero. That's another way that you can lose the game. So the boatswain always have to give guidance that no, my hull is getting reduced, I cannot take more damage. Let's go to an island and get some repairs done.
Another way the game can end is when your discontent token and your crew member token unfortunately meet on the same spot.
Yeah, so the first mate is trying to manage these two things. The more crew you have and the more discontent you have, so can be a problem. The more crew you have, you need to feed them more. So the more you have to spend time on the sea, they will consume supplies, they will get hungry, they will eat more resources, they will eat your supplies. If they don't get enough supplies, if you lose battles, if you perform poorly in the game, then their discontent is going to increase. And you always have to see that the discontent value never reaches the crew value, because that means 100% of your crew has become discontent. So different ways can be used to counter it. Sometimes you might be given opportunities to distribute free supplies in your crewmates to reduce the discontent. Sometimes you can hire additional crew. So if the crew is more, then the number of discontent might be 3, but your crew is 10. So you still are in a healthy position. So that's one of the things that you will have to manage as well. And the Cooper is actually taking care of the supplies of the ship, and supplies are useful for all different kind of things. Supplies will be used for
Loading cannons.
loading cannons, for food, for repairs. So you need supplies all the time.
And
So
who knows, maybe you can even get some special items.
yeah, and so supplies where you can get, of course, you can try to get them at ports, but when you are at sea, you can try to attack other ships
Or
and
fish.
loot them. You can do fishing. You can gather supplies from sunken ships. So those kind of options will come up on how you can get supplies. Then let's come to the one component which we have not talked about, which is actually one of the main things also about the
How
game,
did we forget
is
about that?
the adventure book. Now, the adventure book presents different locations and the actions that are available. So this works like something like a worker placement, but very simplified worker placement. Each of the page of the book is going to present an artwork of the location and some options of locations that are available that you can go to. So for example, if you are at for example a shanty town, there will be artwork, and then there are different locations that you can go to. The game gives you a timer that okay, once you flip to a page, then quickly everyone is going to use, all players get one standee of their own pirate. Let's say we have 3 players, so everyone is going to have their own standee, and everyone will quickly place on this section that where they want to go. There will be some sections which come with a single pirate symbol. These places only a single pirate can go. Then there will be some green places which have multiple pirate symbol icon on it, where multiple people can go as well. So for example, Ishal has selected to go on, let's say, the market, and only one person can go there. If I go to, for example, the graveyard, only one person can go there. Now the third player, if he wanted to go to graveyard, he cannot go. How is it decided that who selects first? That's decided by the quartermaster, which is the infamy track. So the more infamous you are, the first turn goes to you, that people respect you. You will choose where you want to go first. But you have to hurry in your decisions, because if you lose time, then other pirates are going to become discontent and your discontent is going to increase. So for example, this pirate then
Pirates are very
says,
impatient.
I'm going to just work the ship. I don't see any other good option and I'm going to work the ship. Now, what you're seeing here, it might not have all the information. You don't get enough time, and that's why the purpose of the timer is that you don't get enough time to actually see or observe or go into detail that what's going to happen there. It needs to be a surprise as well. And that's why what's going to happen is that you will have some symbols. So you will have some idea what's going to happen, but not sure. For example, in the market, there is a swagger symbol with the white
Like,
icon.
swagger basically means
Will-
talking skill.
Yeah. So we will explain those stats after this. But there is a swagger symbol. So you know that if you go to the market, your swagger is going to increase. Good. Maybe that's one of the things that I need. But then there is a supply icon, there is a reroll icon, a treasure icon, an infamy icon, a question mark. So any of these things or multiple of these things can happen. You're not sure what will happen, but you selected it. The other pirate selected a graveyard where he's going to search something in the graveyard. So his navigation skill is going to increase. But what is he going to find? There is a question mark. We don't know. Whereas if you work the ship, then the infamy symbol is there, the ship hull symbol is there, supply symbol is there. So at least you have an idea that okay, when I work the ship, something is going to change for the hull of the ship. Some supplies are going to be consumed of the ship. So things like that are going to happen. You get some idea. Once the timer is done, everyone has selected. Then you go into details starting from top to bottom. The things are going to get resolved. Then in front of this, the other half page is going to give the details that actually what does happen on your turn. So for example, when Ishal went to market, there is going to be a check here. Okay, check your swagger. Based on your swagger, something is going to happen in the market. How the checks and stats are going to happen brings us to these kind of character sheets.
They honestly look more like pamphlets or books.
So the game comes with I think around 20 or
That's a hefty lot.
different character sheets. Other than the main scenarios, within each scenario, you can have a customized pirate who has his own personal ambition, a personal inspiration,
A
personal goal that he's trying to complete. And that's what this chart represents. He wants to become. So, for example, my pirate is called the Swordfish Amber, and he is a lovesick pirate. So, he has fallen in love with a mermaid, and that's his backstory, and he's trying to find her out. Will I be able to complete my own personal quest while trying to do the main quest? That will be one of the things that I get to explore using this piece of paper. This works with a pencil. You actually scratch off things on here. What have I completed? My own personal stats are going to be on this one as well. So this acts more like Dungeons and Dragons stats, that once your stats increase, you increase the level that I have improved my stat. So the more skill you use of a type, the more it will increase on the stat sheet here. And once you have increased your stat, the check is going to be that you are going to roll d12. These are 12. These are 12-sided die. So you're going to roll whatever number comes on the dice. You're going to add your skill level. So for example, if I had 4 skill and the number I rolled is 5, so 4 plus 5 is 9. Very simple D&D like checks. 9, and based on the result, now I'm going to see what's going to happen.
Excuse me, I'm the one here.
Yes.
So I added up, it makes 14.
14. So for example, it says perform a swagger check, and if it is 14, choose 3 market options below. And it has given a lot of market options like get supplies for the crew, gather news from the locals, get something nice, get a scary looking tattoo, get a cannon. And now she gets to choose 3 options. If the swagger was low, maybe nobody is giving you options to get free things.
Or
Because
maybe you
people
end up
don't
losing
respect
money
you.
or something like a scam.
Yeah, things like that can happen. Where I go graveyard, when I do the navigation check, if my navigation was good, it will give me a numeric number which I can put in the app, and maybe a different story will appear. Maybe a ghost comes and haunts me forever because I rolled badly, so
Maybe you'll
different
get a
things
clue.
can happen.
Maybe you'll get a clue for something.
Maybe I found a treasure hidden in one of the graves if my navigation skill was good. So different things can happen. But if you roll better, the result is ideally going to be better as well.
Why would there be treasure in a grave?
Somebody hide it because they know nobody will dig it out. So it was illegal treasure. So anyway, that's how things can happen. If people see you do perform good, your infamy can increase. And again, the more infamous you are, the first dibs on things you get.
Where was your character, Bala?
Now, once on this character sheet, there are other things of note as well, rather than just stats. There are constellations. These pictures on top look weird. They are different for each character. It could have been a simple track, 1 to 10, whatever, but they made it like constellations, which adds a bit of a flavor, even though it doesn't have any actual real need.
It kind of looks nice, you know?
Yeah, it looks nice. But what they have done is that as you increase your skill, there will be certain points in your stat sheet that there are stars on your stats. Once you are able to cut off a star, you are able to cut off a star in the constellation on top as well. Once you have cut enough stars in the constellation, you will get a constellation token. What these constellation tokens do is they let you progress your own personal story. And how the personal story progresses is, again, in a D&D like ad-lib fashion, you will be putting some blank words against something in the start, and then there will be some personal stories. So the more constellation tokens you get to reveal your own personal story slowly and slowly as you progress through the main scenario as well. Not everything is revealed at one time. At the end of the game, once the scenario finishes, then everyone around the table will be able to see that, okay, how many of your own personal quest missions or constellations were you able to solve. If you were able to get at least 3 or less constellations only, then you will get a bad ending. So maybe if I was a lovesick pirate, maybe I never found who I was looking for, or maybe I had hit something on my head and I fell in love with a crab or something. So something bad can happen. Then if you get 4 constellations, which is quite easy to do, then you will get a good ending, which is going to be the most probable if you have a bigger group playing the game. But if you're really focused on your own task, maybe you're sacrificing the overall scenario, because sometimes you will get treasure cards, and you need the treasure cards to improve your stats to help you fight the scenarios that you're going to encounter. But instead of fighting, you are dumping the treasure to complete your own personal agenda. So you can become selfish in that, and then you can get the legendary ending for yourself as well. So that is an
It's sort of
option.
like a jungle. It's sort of like not a jungle. It's sort
Well,
of
you
like
have to balance it out.
like a tightrope walking.
Yeah. So let's take another example of how
Awesome.
maybe the fights can work. So for
Exactly.
example, this Megalodon, you're going to fight. The fights are going to happen in the same fashion. The gunner becomes active at that time. These dials can move. They can indicate the health of the shark or the ship that you're going to fight. There are going to be cannons. You can go to different locations and say, I'm firing the cannon. You flip the cannon to unloaded side. The other guy is going. You're loading the cannon. And then after loading the cannon, you're firing again. Maybe you're doing different things. Your people are getting flown aboard. Someone is helping the crew at different locations. So different things. Each page presents a different type of options, not same options. That's why it's a book rather than a board, because each page is going to present different options that you get to explore. Each scenario is going to present different things that you're going to explore on the board. There are going to be a different treasures that you get to collect. They will increase your stats as well as give you different unique abilities. There are going to be different unique story specific treasures as well that can be given to you. And those are really interesting because they are thematically connected to the story itself as well. One last role that one of the players will be controlling is the ship scribe role. And what does the ship scribe does? So for example, they get to name your ship. So for example, our first ship was called the Cleopatra. There will be different keywords that you will get to unlock. So maybe the narrative says you have completed this, write this on your, and that's how the save mechanism of the game works. Write this on the ship's scribe log. You will write it there. There will be different threat quests. If threat is keep on increasing, you will keep track here. There will be certain quests that are related to your own specific captain that you get to track here as well. If in between each scenario, I will say is a minimum 2 hours long. But of course, you might not want to sit throughout that session. So there is a natural save point in between as well. At that time, the backside of the this will work because it will let you mark all the important locations on the map so that next time you can set it up more easily, as well as keep track of all your stats and any other notes that you want to take. After that, you can put everything back in the box. The app doesn't really save anything. You just write here, and accordingly you set up the board again, and the app will pick up from right where you left off. As soon as you enter the next entry, it will understand that, oh, you're on the right path, and it will continue the story from there. And that's how Forgotten Waters work. So coming back to now the overall theme. Again, we didn't explain each and everything. You will be able to get many other things like these. Misfortune is something like disadvantage in D&D, where you roll 2 dice and pick up the lower value of the 2. So it has a lot of D&D like simplistic skill checks. That's why I said that gameplay wise, it might be a little bit light. You're not coming here for the gameplay, even though there is a layer of gameplay here with all the board, the locations, the managing of resources, but they are all very, very simple. Even kids can play this game easily.
I mean, why do you think I'm here?
But the main enjoyment of this is going to be the stories it take you on. Even though all the scenarios are not connected to each other, there is no grand story, but it's the same world in which the stories are there.
You can feel as if there is a small connection. It's not a very big one, just a teensy bit one.
Yeah, but so each scenario you're playing different characters itself as well. And that's why I think this was a very fabulous experience for our family. Isha, what did you think about the game?
I liked it. I liked it honestly a lot. Honestly, the storytelling in the website was amazing, and it's actually very great for laughs. If you really are a person that's like more comedic games, then I recommend this game. And also if you like simpler gameplay and not that much puzzle solving or strategy.
Yep. So that's it from us. If you want something like Dungeons and Dragons but set in a pirate theme with a built-in story,
Can you make Dungeons and Dragons pirate teams?
yeah, you can make anything in Dungeons and Dragons. So I think this was the perfect mash of that, and well, it enhances the experience much about that. So if you like story games, 2 thumbs up. Here's the other one.
4 thumbs up.
And some fingers also. That's it from us. Happy
Fingers.
gaming.
Happy gaming. Why is there a Kraken?